Hello everybody and welcome back to the second shelf. I'm gonna do another tag video today because I'm really shamefully behind with all the tags that I've been tagged in. So I thought I'd at least do one. We have one down, and this is the Get to Know Me tag created by Plots and Points. That's a relatively new booktuber. I will leave a link to the tag video down below, and you should subscribe if you don't know him. He's really funny and witty, and he has a sharp sense of humor and how he reviews books. It's absolutely worthwhile. And I've been tagged twice, so I've been double tagged by two Steves. Steve Partridge, who's also a relatively new booktuber, and you should go check him out. He's a really fantastic, very quiet, but very subtly funny booktuber. And of course, I was tagged by Steve Donahue, who needs no introduction. If you haven't subscribed to him, you're missing out. Anyway, the Get to Know Me tag. Question number one, what do you want to tell us about yourself? Well, not to make it too long, because I'm quite old, so I could tell you the story of my life, and that would take forever, but I don't want to do that. I was originally trained as a lawyer. I studied law and politics, and then in Germany, and then I worked as a lawyer for over 25 years in private practice mainly. I had my own law office. I also worked as a law professor, and then I quit law in 2010 and started writing because I wanted to become a writer, and I write fiction, literary fiction. My first novel was published in 2013. I also write crime fiction together with another author under a pseudonym, Britta Bolt. So my first name, his last name, and we've written 3 books so far in a crime series, sort of a cozy mystery crime series. No psychological thriller, or there's not that much blood, but there is murder. So I write fiction and crime fiction, and also non-fiction about, I wrote a couple of books about the rule of law, about how to be a good lawyer, the ethics of law. So a mixture of fiction, crime, and non-fiction, and that's what I do now at the moment. Question 2, your favorite author. I can never answer these questions. A favorite author, like favorite book. I have a couple of authors whose work I read entirely and whom I really love, and that's authors like Mary McCarthy. And I know I promised you a Mary McCarthy author gush. I will do that at one point, but Mary McCarthy was most famous for her novel The Group, but she wrote fantastic nonfiction as well. I really love her. I really like Susan Sontag, who mainly is famous for her nonfiction, her essays on politics, on art, on photography, but who also wrote novels. Then from the newer generation, Janet Winterson is one of my favorites. I discovered her, I don't know, I think 20 years ago with Oranges Were the Only Fruit, which I really love. But I enjoy most of her novels. I think she's a fantastic writer. But I also really enjoy Lionel Shriver. I think she's one of these authors who have quite a controversial take on things, and I love that you are, you're challenged in your views. The book she wrote about, we need to talk about Kevin, about a school shooting and the mother of that child and the relationship between them. She wrote a book about obesity, the Big Brother, which is sort of autobiographical because Lionel Shriver's brother was overweight and he died from it. One of my favorite books by her is Too Much for That, in which she tackles the medical system. So I like authors who surprise me, but I couldn't, from all the authors I mentioned, I couldn't say, well, this is the only favorite author. But the ones I mentioned are certainly my favorites so far, but I'm always interested in discovering new ones and new authors, debut authors, and there might be a new favorite just around the corner. Question 3, your favorite movie. That's a little bit easier, I think, even though I have quite some movies that I watch or rewatch all the time and that I really love. But two older ones stand out for me, and that is Blade Runner, because I when I first watched it, and it's quite old, but I still think it's fantastic science fiction, dystopian, fantastic story. I love the scenes in the darkness, this city which is really gritty and dark and horrible. So Blade Runner is one of my favorites, and an other really absolute favorite, which I watched at least 20 times. It's also quite old, from the 1970s, I think 1979, and that's Jean Beneix's, a French director, Diva. It's a really, really beautiful movie. If you have not watched it, go try, see whether you can get it from Netflix, or it's on DVD, I know that. I don't think it's on Netflix, but maybe it's on one of these other channels. And it's the story of a young guy. He's a postman, and he really loves opera, and especially one opera singer. But she does not do recording, so she only performs live. And he goes to her performances and secretly tapes her, and then the tape is mixed up with another tape from a crime syndicate, and there's chases, and it's a combination of love and mystery and music, and especially the plot is fantastic, but also the camera work. So if you have never seen it, you have to check it out. Now we have question number next question. I forgot the numbering, but next question. Favorite TV show. Yeah, that's what you get when you're old, and you have lots of favorites. But if I had to pick only one from at least not the far distant past, then I would say The Wire, because I love crime, police procedurals or crime series, and The Wire is absolutely the best series in that genre that I've ever seen. It's 6 seasons, it's set in Boston, and it focuses on drug dealers, drug addicts, politicians, journalists, police, and each season focuses on one group in particular. And the writing is fantastic, the acting is really great, so that is one of my favorites. I also really enjoyed The West Wing. I just recently rewatched it because I thought, well, this could be the president that we have at the moment, or you have in the United States. I really enjoyed The West Wing, mainly because of the really sharp and witty writing and dialogues. So that's one of my favorites. In the beginning, I loved the TV show 24, the first and second season. After that, I thought it went downhill. I don't have a very recent favorite TV show, but if you can recommend anything, I'm always eager to discover something new, and I love to watch TV shows and series, even though it's not good for me because I have the tendency of then, watch like 10 episodes one after the other into the night, which is not good for next day working. But anyway, next question. What is your music taste? Well, I'm a child of the 60s, obviously. Yeah, I'm that old. So my modern music taste sort of stopped with rock and pop and, Bob Dylan, Beatles, Rolling Stones, that kind of thing. I never got into that new house music or techno. That doesn't mean much to me. But if I listen to music consciously in order to calm me down, or when I'm stressed, then I listen to classical music, and especially from the Baroque era. I love the instrumentation in that era. I love the quietness of the music. I also really enjoy listening to opera, but I prefer watching than only listening. But if I really want to sit down and listen to music in order to, soothe me or quiet me, then I would listen to classical music, and especially Baroque. Next question. What is your favorite sport? Well, I didn't really know how to interpret that question. Does that mean favorite sport to do or favorite sport to watch? Because I do not watch that much sport. When I watch sport, I like rugby. I really love it. I'm a fan of the All Blacks, of course. I love ice hockey, which is sort of rugby on skates. I love to watch darts, but I don't know whether you would call that a sport. And if the question means what kind of sport do you do, well, I did ballet and dance for a very long time, and I did boxing, especially kickboxing. But I don't do that anymore. It's too strenuous for an old lady. And the last question, tell us about your super secret guilty pleasure of anything. Well, I hardly ever feel guilty doing something that is pleasurable or that's pleasurable to me, but I know what the question means. So one of the things that I do, which you would consider a guilty pleasure, is I don't cook. I hate cooking, but I love watching cooking shows. I really love them. Baking, cooking, the British series, the British Bake Off, stuff like that, but also just baking shows or cooking shows where people cook, and I'm sitting there. That's relaxing and soothing. I never try to do it. I wouldn't even begin, but I just love to watch it. What you can do, Nigella Lawson, there was the series Nigella Bites, and I love that. It's so calming and soothing, and I don't know, that's one of the guilty pleasures I have. So this was it for the Get to Know Me tag. I don't think I'm gonna tag anybody, because this tag has been around for quite some time, and I guess most people I know, at least from BookTube, have been tagged. Maybe if you watch this and you like the tag and you haven't done it, please consider yourself tagged. I would love to see you do it, but I don't know who did it or who was tagged already, so it doesn't make sense to tag anybody. Anyway, this was my take on the Get to Know Me tag. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Talk to me in the comments about your favorite movies or TV shows, or if you have any suggestions. And I'll see you again soon in my next video. Bye bye.